I guess I'm a motivational speaker. When life entrusts you with lives. A book written by Tulani Yeyeye Gumede, published by Ngaba Publishers in 2025. When a crooked finger points in your direction, the weight of calling. There's a school of thought that says most people called by God for ministry never feel adequate. At the moment of calling, they often scramble for excuses, almost asking God to double check whether he got the right address. Moses did this. So did Gideon, Jeremiah, and Isaiah. Even Joshua had to be reminded more than once to be strong and courageous. Feeling inadequate means standing before a giant task, trembling in your boots. You whisper, "Why me?" You search for answers that never come. In this instance, asking God why you is not an act of humility. It's raw fear. Looking back at my life, I realize that the feeling of inadequacy has been my companion more often than I would like to admit. A ping in the dark. One evening in Sentin, more than 2 years ago, I was half asleep on a hotel bed, still in my work clothes, one leg hanging off the mattress. My room was dark. A migraine had forced me to switch off the lights. At 20 to 9, my phone pinged. The message was from DJ Vuma. "Greetings, sir. Please make time to give us a 5 to 6 minutes motivation for Kakasi FM. Monday, 18th September 2023 at 20 past 5 a.m. Meantime, also send us a PR photo. Thank you." Motivation? Me? I smirked. My reply, sent at 19 minutes to 9, was brief and almost automatic. "Thank you, my leader. I will do so." The last time I had heard from Vuma was in January 2023, when he had invited me to review my first book, Ngaba Grief and Hope. That was easy enough. I was already a seasoned radio interviewee with appearances on more than 20 radio stations, including Ukhozi FM and Ikwekwezi FM. But this, motivation on radio, that was another world. Calm in a rah-rah world. I respected the call, but confusion lingered. Traditional motivational speakers are fast-paced, punchy, and animated. They are celebrated for their fire and rhythm. Where I come from, calm presenters are often dismissed as cold, no matter how deep their content may be. But me, I seem to be on the other side of the spectrum. I am calm, story-driven, observant. I see myself as the Dave Chappelle of motivation, pulling lessons from everyday life and unpacking them at a slow pace. But would Kakasi FM listeners embrace this style? The page of this book will tell. And why me? called to motivate when I didn't even like the rah-rah brand of motivation. Then it hit me. I was overthinking. No one had offered me a permanent slot. It was one motivation, one morning, nothing more. Choosing the message. Friday came and I flew back to KwaZulu-Natal. That weekend at home, I sat on a veranda thinking about my topic. Dozens of ideas flashed through my mind until one settled in my heart. Overcoming imposter syndrome. I searched deeply: academic journals, articles, celebrity stories. The names stunned me: Maya Angelou, Tom Hanks, Michelle Obama. All these people were battling the imposter syndrome, including Oscar and Grammy winners who still peeped through their curtains, convinced the Academy was sending someone to reclaim awards that they felt they didn't deserve. I had thought of my own struggles, turning down some of the biggest opportunities, questioning, why me? Even when producers reassured me I was more than capable. On the outside, when I performed on some of the biggest platforms, I seemed calm, collected, unpacking topics layer by layer with ease. But inside, I was wrestling with the monster called imposter syndrome. That would be my message: overcoming imposter syndrome. I wasn't aiming to make people feel good. My hope was that one listener, stuck in self-doubt, would realize that they were not alone, that it's possible to live with the monster and still rise. The first broadcast. The moment finally came. It was a warm, gentle Monday morning wrapped in darkness. The air seemed to invite me to linger in its stillness. I signed into Gagasi FM studio at 5 o'clock in the morning. DJ Vuma had been on air since 4 a.m. The atmosphere was warm and alive. When my turn came, Vuma switched my microphone on. I was on. My deep, resonant voice, often said to be a radio voice, filled the airwaves. I felt God's presence. As Eric Liddell once said in The Chariot of Fire, I felt his presence. I delivered my message calmly, in my way. Vuma's voice lit up. As I spoke, a visible shiver of delight ran through him. Even his hair seemed to stand up in awe. When I ended with God is love, he played a song. His phone beeped. A relative in Akumbi had texted to say the entire taxi had gone silent, listening to my words. Vuma stressed to me that this relative had never texted him while he was still in the studio. We had struck a chord. The show ended beautifully that morning. I immediately flipped the page. The one morning stand was over. I went about my 9 to 5 business. But a few days later, I got a nudge to prepare another message. I was to return the following Monday, and the next, and the next. 2 years later, I'm still on air every Monday. The crooked finger. At first, I resisted the idea that I had been chosen. I thought the crooked finger pointing at me must have been meant to point at someone else. It reminded me of the Kung Fu Panda scene where Master Oogway pointed at Po as the next dragon warrior, in the midst of those who were considered more than capable. I even begged people not to celebrate too soon, convinced I wouldn't last. But now I know the crooked finger had seen something in me I didn't see in myself. And the one behind that finger knew. Redefining motivation. This is my story, my journey into motivation, my challenge to you to never limit yourself to what you think you are. Trust the greatness that God has already placed within you. I still hold my belief that motivation isn't about hype. It isn't about the entertainment. It's about movement. Moving people from A to B in the right direction, even if only by a small step. The Angelic Scout. I invite you to read this book with an open mind and heart. The strangers who keep confirming your inner voice are not strangers at all, but angelic scouts sent to remind you of your calling. There's a mission that only your gift can fulfill. Why does the crooked finger point at you? It's because you are gifted. The end of chapter 1, when a crooked finger points in your direction. This is from a book by Thulani Gumede. I guess I'm a motivational speaker.